Welcome to the next segment of the Urban Academics Roundtable. I am very, very, very extremely excited tonight to introduce what I know to be the fit for most of our inner city urban 21st century Title I schools. It is the arts. That is who we are. Black, brown, and poor people have nothing else to run to but the arts. And I know that if you couple the arts with education, there's no way we can lose. And so tonight's guest comes all the way from New York City. New York is a huge, huge population of people. And you and I, all of us know that what's trending now is COVID-19 in 2020. So I'm saying COVID-19/20. So for my students, I'm calling them, I've dubbed them the class of COVID-19. And so here we find ourselves trending with more than just COVID right now. We're trending with stimulus. We're trending with the president taking some kind of medication that he shouldn't be taking. We've got a whole lot of things on the table. But our purpose for this roundtable is to find a way to gather the people who really, really, really care about our children. And only God knows those people. We can't pick and choose them. We know that we're one of them, or we sure wouldn't be on a phone call on a Thursday evening at 9:30. We would be somewhere else watching the TV with our family, whatever. This is a straight-up sacrifice, so I thank you for your time, your energy, your expertise, and your questions. And with that said, just real quick, a few housekeeping things. So, roundtable, we want to ask questions. We want to be able to dig deep into your repertoire of information so that we can help those children and families around our different respective locations. So, yes, you're from New York, but we want you to speak to us as if we were in your back door. So everyone around this table has the right to ask a question. Sometimes there's more people than not. So this is roundtable number 7. So basically we're seven weeks old. And so that means we're not grown up yet. 7-week-old babies don't talk really, they don't walk really, but we are doing our thing, and there have been some real powerful people on this line to help us along the way. And let me bring Kay on so she can introduce tonight's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful addition to what we are doing here in the way of our Urban Academics Roundtable. She's going to introduce to us all Lonai Mosley.
Thank you, Sister Trina. It is a privilege again to be on this line and be able to share whatever information is being provided tonight through this medium. I am grateful and I am humbled always. So tonight we have the privilege of introducing, or I have the privilege of introducing, and we, Lady Lonai Mosley from New York, New York. She is a forward-thinking and innovative artistic visionary who welcomes creative collaborations, who seeks positive contributions and initiatives, global opportunities through environments, and is passionate about philanthropic youth ventures. Her specialties are an exceptional ability. She has an exceptional ability in conceptualizing, developing, and executing mixed media visual content and branding initiatives. She has writing, producing, directing live and digital recorded events. She has passions around developing and facilitating media arts and education curriculum from concept through completion, building strategic partnerships, selecting and motivating teams of technical crew, staff, and students necessary to obtain optimum results. She is the founder of Dea Picks and Dea Community, where Lady Lonai has studied film production, event marketing, and entertainment law at NYU, the School of Continuing Education, and TV production at Southern Connecticut State University. She is a seasoned conceptual originator, developer, logistical producer, and artistic visionary of aesthetics. Lady Lonai specializes in digital media and live event production and marketing. Her long-standing expertise as a visual artist, writer, videographer, director, and brand marketer has produced quality digital video, PSAs, documentaries, live and special events, and workshop productions, as well as developed creative and business content for print, web, and TV. Lady Lonai has also appeared as an on-air reporter, interviewer, motivational speaker, moderator / presenter for TV, voice, and indie film actor talent for various clients. As the founder of Dea Picks, some of her clients have included the Jerkins Family Gospel Celebrations, Gourmet Angel Productions, Alicia Keys, MBK Productions, Chris Curry Productions, Media Savvy PR, Cash Money Content, Sensation 4 Media, Tempo TV, Circuit Productions, Columbia University Event Management, Viacom, Spike TV, Defina Books, and Kensington Publishing, as well as NV Media, Brooklyn Community Access TV, Sony, and a dozen of other media, as well as within her capacity as the founder of the Dea Community, which is a community-based organization. She is also a vendor for the Department of Education. She has been able to fuse her mission to inspire and empower youth ages 12 to 18 by developing the necessary business skills for success. Through the exploration of a digital media and video arts and education curriculum and strategic brand marketing concept for students choosing to pursue creative industry, the Dea Community vision to encourage, mentor, and embrace the each one, teach one ideology. It is my pleasure to be able to introduce my niece, who has also been an independent internet distribution person and worldwide distribution of entertainment products for clients that include North Star Music Distribution, Prince's MPG Records, Sony Music, Columbia Records, Motown, and Atlantic Records, just to name a few, and is also the daughter of one of the original Five Satins that you're familiar with in the Still of the Night, which started in New Haven, Connecticut, which was originated, I should say, the original Five Satins from New Haven, Connecticut. She is an offspring of one of the original creators, founders of that group. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you Lady Lonai Mosley.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Auntie. I'm so humbled. I did all that in 25 years. I can't believe it. I'm only 25.
Yes,
What is that about? No, but thank you so much for thinking about me, everyone. And I'm really, really happy to be here because I just applaud your mission. And when Auntie Kay asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, I absolutely couldn't think of any place else that I'd rather be on a Thursday evening than right here, supporting you, loving your mission. Thank you, Trina, for, just the time we spent together yesterday. And it was very inspirational. And if there's anything I can do to help this movement, because that's definitely what it's about at this point, then I'm 110% on board. So thank you very, very much for having me tonight.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank God for you.
Mm-hmm.
Lonai, take us on a journey, because you just mentioned something about us yesterday. This roundtable is really, really important to us. So Kay and I are actually we talk to everyone. Kay knows Lonai obviously better than I do, but I've spent quality time with Lonai over the years too, because Kay has been, she's all I know. You know what I mean? So her family is mine, whether that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And so when we talked yesterday, it's been years since, right? It's been a few years since. A whole lot has happened since. So we had to catch up and had to find out what she's doing, what I'm doing, what we're doing. And we all know the roundtable is brand new. There is no way we would have this quality of hot seat takers. They're willing to take this seat early, and we haven't really. I want to make this seat hot. Mm-hmm. Like, I want people like almost scared to sit in it, but want to be challenged, that kind of thing. And Lonai is in New York City, where the COVID pandemic is running rampant. And yet somehow she still has energy. She still has motivation. She still has everything she has going toward all the young people she's ever worked with. And that's who people involved in motivating our students higher is. It's not me. It's not, you. It's all of us. It's whoever the person is who is involved in motivating students. To talk about it, to sell sneakers, are you really involved in motivating students? You know what I mean? Just sitting, we don't want this platform to be just a place where we come to talk. This is a platform where we have to come and talk about solutions that can then become content that then is disseminated however Black, brown, and poor people can get it.
Amen.
So, Lonai, start from the beginning. Start from when they said there's no way you can do whatever it was you thought you was going to do.
I still hear that all the time. And so that's why I always have 5 resumes, because as soon as I'm invited to a meeting and I assess the participants, no judgment, just a realistic assessment, because at the end of the day, everyone's not ready and everyone will not go and is not able to go to the next level. I think that the mission is so much bigger, right? It's bigger than me. It's bigger than us. It's bigger than, the most affluent, the wealthiest, and so forth and so on. Right now is a major reset going on, right? And I embrace that. As I've always embraced my mission, I would say that I've always been told no. Always. I was watching the Michael Jordan Last Dance, series this past week with my students, the Teen Central members here in Brooklyn and Starrett City. And, the conversations were great. They were very insightful and so forth, But one thing I learned from watching that series, and everybody knows Michael Jordan was the GOAT, right? The greatest of all time. No. However, that's an innate drive. I think that whatever motivates that mentality and fuels that mentality is something that you're born with oftentimes. The slightest thing, the slightest challenge can trigger the motivation to do something if you're open to it, right? So with me, no has always meant, oh, no, not now or not that way. Maybe I need to go a different way, right? Yeah, absolutely. Coming from a great family, met with a lot of exposure and, different just ideas and creative gifts, talents, and abilities. However, how does one go from, coming from an environment where, you may not have a silver spoon, however, in your mind that you're supposed to be doing something and you're supposed to be somewhere, So when I chose to leave New Haven at 15 and a half, basically, to come spend time with Auntie Kay down in the city because I wanted to see what it was all about. I used to tell my friends all the time, I knew that I wasn't going to be there, that I needed to do something, that I felt a calling, there was a pull, there was a magnetic force, so to speak, that was pulling me towards something that I didn't even understand at the time. I had no idea yet what it was going to be about, And now, mind you, along the way, for whatever I was dealing with, I wasn't always attracting the right energies or making the best choices. However, when I did embrace, I want to work here, or I want to meet this person, or I want to do that, I was blessed through it all. Nobody knew I was going to work as an abused woman sometimes, or, sometimes with an apple to eat in my refrigerator for the week, or whatever it was that was going on in my life, the scars that I bared, and all of that. But there was something stronger that was pulling me. I would say that every dream I aspired to, and I don't think I'm done dreaming. I hope, we all continue to dream, always. But every dream that I aspired to, almost on a whim at times, I was able to achieve in some capacity, And I mean, even in 82, when Purple Rain came out, and we were all in love with Prince. Right? We were all in love with Prince, and I was the number one fan, I thought. I had the Vanity 6 poster up in my room. I had the purple, the one with the purple trench coat, that poster over my bed and everything. And one day I sat down and I wrote a letter to Prince. I included a headshot, a resume, and I got my little padded envelope, and you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to Paisley Park, right? So I mailed that package off, and I just said, I have my phone number, and I just said, he's going to call me. I just know it, right? So, that was 82. Never really thought much about it after that. Came to New York, got involved in the music industry and all. I answered an ad in the Village Voice newspaper for a receptionist at a label. When I went, I had no idea about the industry, from that perspective, from the corporate side. All I knew is I had a plan. I said, well, I need to learn the mechanics of the business because there's some things I want to achieve in this business. And, I ultimately want to work in film and television and all this stuff. And I don't know, how I'm going to do it because I didn't have those contacts. But when I showed up, what I found out was that the label represented Run DMC and a host of other people. So I got the job. The owner, the president, asked me what I knew about the music business, and I'm thinking, well, I know something because, my dad did some stuff in the business, whatever. So I'm thinking, well, I know something about the business. As it was, I didn't really know much about the business at all, other than what I had been exposed to, in terms of going to rehearsals with my dad or, listening to the music, knowing about the group and this, that, and the other, and the legacy of what they created, right? So my first exposure to answering the phones was, tell that MFer to get on this MFing phone right now. This is Russell Simmons. And I was like, okay, well, who's Russell Simmons? I don't know who this is, right? So I said, Corey, Russell Simmons said, get on the phone right now. Tell him I'm not here. Okay. I said, well, Mr. Simmons, Corey said he's not available right now, but he will get back to you. Well, tell that MFR I know he's there. He better get on this phone. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So moving on, I said to myself, okay, this industry, it seems a little rough, but I think I could manage, right? From there, I had met someone who was doing promotions who was leaving the company to go work at Warner Brothers, right? So when he got over there, he stayed in touch with me and got me over there in the temp program, invited me to come and apply. And sure, I got hired. So that's how I got to work at all those labels and meet the artists and, figure out that what I really enjoyed about it was, the marketing aspect and the international marketing, because I do think globally, However, at that time, there were no women of color in those promotion or executive positions to be able to do that international work. As close as I got was being a coordinator in Atlantic Records. But, again, it got me, it was step by step, and I got a lot of exposure to meeting people and being invited to the party, so to speak, because, in the industry, you have to just be invited, basically. So my 5-year plan to learn the mechanics of the industry from the corporate side turned into 15 years, basically. And throughout that time, yes, I worked at all the majors. My last hurrah was I was literally leaving Columbia Jazz because my position, that's another story, what happened with that position. But, there were certain expectations that you had to meet, and this was before the Me Too movement, if you know what I'm saying. It was like an unwritten rule. So for me, I wasn't, that's not the route that I chose for myself, So I was let go, and I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what my next job was going to be. As I was exiting the Sony 550 building on Madison Avenue and 55th Street, an attorney was walking in who I had met at one of my temporary jobs at Motown. And he said, hey, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm good, everything's okay, and I'm leaving. And he's like, well, what are you up to, by the way? Where are you going? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, today's my last day here. I'm not really sure where I'm going. And he said, well, if you're interested, why don't you come by my office on Monday? I may have something for you. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Thank you. I'll see you Monday. What time? And I went there for 11 a.m. I'll never forget it. When I sat down, I found out that Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince at the time, had started his own distribution company, and this was his attorney, and the whole production was being run out of his office on 57th and Madison. So once I found that out, I'm thinking back to 1982 and my little package with my resume and my headshot and all this and that, right? And I'm saying, dreams do come true. You don't know how long they're going to take sometimes, and you don't even know if it's the right time. But the biggest lesson I found out was no just simply means not right now, and I stuck to that. From there, I just worked, and I ended up being the national advertising director for the startup independent label that Prince had. And so I learned distribution from the ground up. And at that time, we still had the warehouses, we had the record stores, there was the Strawberries and the Tower Records and all those. And I learned by hitting the ground with a box of CDs under my arm and meeting with people who were used to getting paid $10,000 a pop to put an artist in a store, that the distribution game was a whole nother animal. It was really, really another animal. I met with people that told me, look, the only reason we're even taking this meeting is because you work with the artist and you're not bad on the eyes, But meanwhile, go back and tell your people we still want our money, and that'll be $10,000. Now, when I would go back, I would be tight. Oh, I was so tight when I got back to the office. And I was really like, how dare you send me out into the trenches with a box of gratis CDs, right? And these guys, and I'll call them fat cats because that's all I could think about was how they looked. These Caucasian men with these big bellies and these cigars rocking back in their chairs because, they were getting paid. And payola was alive and well, and here I was, a green bean in the business, trying to figure all this out, right? So again, no. We're not doing it. We're not giving you a light box in the window. We're not giving you a listening station, all of that. Of course, we're going to put it in the stores, Prince. Absolutely. That's going to happen. But you're not going to get front store positioning because people paid $6 million for those windows, and they paid that a year, 2 years in advance sometime, right? So I learned that lesson. That ran its course. I did that for a couple of years. Then I started feeling a little weary, like, okay, something's not right. Something's not right. What is missing? What is missing? Something is missing. Still in the back of my mind, I guess, kind of like the griminess and the grittiness of the business started wearing on me a little bit, whereas when I was younger, hanging out 5 nights a week, doing my marketing business, meeting, greeting, the athletes, the celebrities, this, that, and the other, all the glimmer and the glitter and all of that, right? But then there was still something missing. I still felt empty. What was missing? What was it? I felt so unfulfilled, so I kept praying about it, and I said, well, whatever it is, I'm open. Just lead me. Just lead me, whatever you want me to do at this point, because, I had been through a series of abusive relationships. I had dealt with, all of that, just glass ceiling business and corporate America, the Fortune 500s and all of that good stuff, right? And so at that point, I was working, I started working in video. I was at Sony 550, and I drafted a proposal for a new video director who I was repping, and I was like, okay, well, this is my opportunity to segue because, I'm kind of empty. And so I said what I ultimately wanted to do was produce film, with conscientious messages and so forth, and do my craft, develop my craft, and, found out very quickly that was also a really, really, really cutthroat side of the business, but I did manage to do a proposal, and I submitted it to the video commissioner at Sony 550 Music, and Sony 550 was headed up by the Edmonds husband and wife team. Some of you may know as Babyface and his wife Tracy Edmonds. So with that said, I got a call, and they're like, you know what? We're going to give you a shot. We're going to let your crew direct this up-and-coming new artist that we have. So I'm like really excited. I'll never forget it. The budget was $110,000. I was over the moon. I was like, oh my God, I just secured my first six-figure deal. This is like incredible. So we pack up. Now, the production crew is 3 women. It's a producer, a director, and me, who is, you know, like kind of like I guess I put the deal together. I brokered the deal, but I also was working on the set, and I was just doing, you know, whatever I needed to do. So here we go, out to L.A. We're so excited. Now we're in L.A. Now I'm seeing what it's really all about, you know, with the William Morris agency and, you know, people coming to the door, and it's like, you better get your behind out here right now, or we'll send your black behinds back to Brooklyn and this, that, and the other. And we were like, whoa, this is really intense. So
reality check.
It's reality once again, and it's no and no and no, right? So, you know, we're hanging out in Malibu. We're up in Baldwin Hills, you know, we're like seeing where they live and what's going on. Now, mind you, what we didn't know was that this artist was being managed by the founding father, one of the founding fathers of the Crips, Mike Concepcion. So we're waiting at the mansion up in Baldwin Hills for them to show up. We're sitting in the living room. All of a sudden, this big, brawly man, over, you know, like 6'5", 6'6", comes walking in. Next thing I know, he has a man on his back. And I'm like, I just kind of chuckled, you know, and I was like, oh, what is going on here, you know? And so he sits him down on the couch. Now, this man is a paraplegic. They tried to murder him because, again, he was one of the founding fathers of the Crips. But what did we know about all that, right? So we get out there. We're doing this video. We're in the trailer, you know, on set, doing the shoot. The lead artist is getting beat up by the A&R director, and all this stuff is going on. And I'm like, oh, my God, where am I? So then one of the vice presidents of the label comes to the door, and he's like, y'all better not come outside by yourselves, you know. And I'm like, oh, my God, what is happening? Where am I, Lord? Please help me. What is going on here? So we have the buddy system. Every time we got to come out to go to the restroom or go on set or do whatever we got to do, we got to pair up now, you know, with intern, whoever, and make sure we're always coupled off and walking around. Because apparently, you know, there was a whole, like, these were murderers and criminals and, you know, gangbangers and all this stuff. And, you know, I didn't know anything about this life, you know, but meanwhile, here we are just trying to produce video content, right? So then, okay, all of that happens. We do a few more deals. Everything's going. We're making money, you know, a few dollars and this, that, and the other. You know, the other people we're working with, you know, they're stealing the money. We're getting it back. You know, everything's going on, right? Come back. I'm like, this is great. However, what is still missing? There's something missing. I don't know what this is. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what this is, you know. I get a call from Chris Curry. I like to call him my godfather.
Yeah, God
you know,
him.
Yeah, Chris is, you know, he's an amazing, giving, kind, loving person who was one of the original founding members of the Moments
Mm-hmm.
So there were times when I thought, ooh, Daddy, is this your spirit working through, a older male mentor for me and, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris had started he had started an in-school seminar program with the Apollo Theater. And so he called to invite me to participate in one of the panels, So I said, oh, great, I'll come. That sounds awesome. So I had worked at the Apollo. I knew a few people there, I was Ralph Cooper's personal assistant at one point in the early 80s, briefly before he died. He was the originator of Amateur Night at the Apollo, and I worked with him, during his last couple of years because he had died from, I think he had pancreatic cancer. And I used to dress him, do his makeup, pay the models that, because the Apollo Amateur Night used to have, the models that walked on stage and the dancers and all that. So I would pay them, kind of like personal assistant / makeup artists, so forth. So, I had some family at the Apollo, so to speak. So I was comfortable. So I went. I did the in-school seminars. I fell in love. I was like, oh my goodness, it's the children. It's the energy of the children. This is what is making my hair stand up on my arms again. This is the passion. This is the life. This is, the next generation, So from there, I worked with them. I kept doing it. From there, I met another group of people who had who learned the whole DOE system, and they knew how to be a vendor, and they had a residency in high school. They invited me. I did that for a couple of years, and all of that was awesome. And then that got turned into a charter school, and a lot was happening. So again, the no's were coming, and the no's. And I was like, I'm just going to keep pushing. And I just really prayed on it. And I said, well, I want to do this. I'm a media arts and education advocate. I have experience. I have something to say. These kids have so much talent. Our kids are just born with so much talent. I said, I just have to figure out a way to do this. I had seen, I think it was a mutual friend had sent me a listing, for a position in Brooklyn where they were looking for vendors and people to come in and do arts programs and stuff. And I was like, great, I'm on it. So I submitted my information maybe December. So sometime late January, I get a call, would you like to come in for an interview? And I was like, great. Oh, good. I'm going to do my program and this, that, and the other. When I got there, it ended up being that their program director was leaving, and they offered me the interim director position. So I said, okay, well, I had done some activity specialist work and, some arts and education programming and stuff at the Apollo and at the Flatbush YMCA and so forth and so on. So sure, I guess I'll take a stab at it, And so I did that, and I was like, this is amazing because here it is in Brooklyn. There was a television studio that was being used as a storage facility. I said, this has to become a media lab again. This cannot be a storage facility. Wrote the proposal. One of my coworkers was a grant writer. He eyeballed it for me, gave me some key points. I submitted it, to the executive directors and so forth. Again, the no's came. We don't want to do that. We don't have money for that. We're not doing it. I was like, okay. So in any event, I had a few elected official contacts, and I'm thinking in my mind, I can get this money. So I went on. The Tenants Association got wind of what I was doing. They asked me to do an ask letter. I submitted that. They were like, you have to be vetted. I was like, okay, great. The next day they called me. They're like, okay, here's your first $1,000 to buy, whatever you need for the piano or this, that, and the other for the lab. I was like, great. then the Lions Club came. Then, I was meeting other people, and other people wanted to help, and community people came, and so forth. So, the no then became not that way, this way, my way. Don't worry about who's saying no. The Spirit was telling me, you report to a higher authority. This is the way you're going to do it. If you surrender, if you're willing to do it this way. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it this way. Whatever you say, that's the way I'm going to do it. Now, mind you, I had been taking workshops at the Spiritual Life Institute at Christian Cultural Center with Dr. A.R. Bernard here in Brooklyn, New York. And, I think I owe them so much because for the past 15 years, they've been very instrumental in changing my life as well in terms of being a teaching ministry and really helping me understand how all these pieces connect and why community is important and why, of course, the youth are always important, but why it's important to pay forward, to tithe, to give back, and to do all these things, And then so I'm always open to the youth that come in and they gravitate to me, and I try to guide them the best way I can, using Spirit as the guide, as always. And, the Spirit is everything in my life through, failed marriages, through abuse, through, whatever other personal issues I've had to deal with. That's always been the case. So my no is always about not that way, but his way. Long story short.
That is one powerful, 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 powerful entry to any young person with a dream. Like, you have helped us to understand that dreams you don't just dream a dream and have it manifest tomorrow. But you are, you're accountable for it. And as the elements and God and your spirit align with it, everything you need just sort of shows up. And that's my experience, too. Sometimes I say, well, most of my stuff is Forrest Gump. I can't take credit for most of it. You know what I'm saying? That's my one-liner or whatever. Like, I can't take credit for it. And most people who would be on a call on a Thursday at 10, 11 p.m., are the same. Like, we are all pretty much the same kinds of people that's just driven from something on the inside. And we know that. We knew it when we were little. So I'm going to let go, but I want you to please just touch on when you were little, those people who helped you believe what you already knew.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to believe that there's always somebody who reinforces it, or who confirms what you may already know, but you haven't realized yet. And so for me, absolutely, there were definitely people. I mean, first of all, I'd like to thank Auntie Kay for, always being one of those people who, Auntie, with even, through all your busyness and your relocations and your going away to school and everything. And then, when you came back and you were in New York, you allowed me to come down. I'll never forget it. You were working in tech at Henry Street Settlement, lighting design, I think it was, for, community theater and all of that. And, you were like, well, okay, well, you want to come learn the business, you want to come hang out. You invited me for the summer. I came down. I learned. You were working on a production, I think, with Cleavon Little at the time. I remember another production was going on with Felicia Rashad
and all of them.
And some other people. I remember that. But I get a kick out of this, and I think, in terms of my life, it's so funny that I think your best friend Naomi at the time, you guys were both in New York pursuing your dreams after, graduating from Howard. I think she had finished NYU, and you guys were in New York. And we were in Midtown. We were at 59th Street, Columbus Circle. I'll never forget this. I think I was 15 maybe. And you said, okay, see you later. Here's the subway map. And I was like, what do you mean, see me later? Where are you going? And you're like, no, you have to learn how to be in the city if you're going to be in the city. And I was like, what? What? I was good as long as, I had my, my mentors and my escorts and stuff. But, here I was. I had to figure out how to get back uptown to Harlem, right? So I guess I knew. But see, to me, that was one of the best lessons you could have given me, because that taught me right there on the spot. And that was one of the few lessons I would say in my life that clicked immediately, because there were times where I needed not that one brick to hit me in the head, but that whole dump truck to back up and dump the whole ton of bricks on me before I got the lesson, right? But I found out. I navigated. You said it was you, I think, or Naomi said, okay, New York, I'm just going to tell you like this, and then we're out of here. New York goes north and south, the streets, and the avenues go east and west, right?
That's
Fifth
right.
Avenue or Park Avenue separates. That's the grid. Fifth Avenue, Madison, Park Avenue separates it, right? East and west. So here you go. We'll see you later. And I mean that I was really kind of like flabbergasted, but at the same time, I felt, so empowered by that, because it gave me a sense of strength. It really encouraged my strength. So, I'd like to say that was definitely one person. And quite honestly, I really didn't get a lot of mentors in my life until I was already working. As I started meeting producers, one of my great mentors was Lillian Smith, who was she was the first African-American television producer. She used to produce the Phil Donahue show. So she took me under her wing and taught me a lot about television production and event production and so forth, And there were a few other people along the way. But again, when I was really little, I think that as a child, for the most part, people didn't really know what to do with me. Because I was a really creative child. I was really shy, kind of introverted, friendly, but, more friendly like, with my family and my cousins and, people like that. But, used to get picked on a lot, believe it or not, called Oreo, half and half, zebra, all that kind of stuff, because if my mom would come pick me up from school, it'd be like, your mom is white. And if my dad came, he'd be like, oh my God, and stuff like that. So, it was interesting. It was, in New Haven for me was, that time of my life was kind of introspective in that I was writing plays and stuff in second grade. But it was more so, I'd say my peers that I worked with and developed with, as opposed to mentors at that early age. So.
All of it. It's just such a breath of fresh air to know that you can dream something, or not even dream it, but just be it your whole life. And I think that's where we missed it in the public school system, and we talked about that yesterday. And let me tell you something. The only reason I couldn't interrupt you is because I could not interrupt you. I'm going to say it again. And Dre, listen up. Because Dre said, you got a big mouth. Shut up, girl. Yes, he has said it to me. Yes, he has. He ain't scared. Dre from Boston, oh, he ain't scared. The only reason that I'm telling you, I've been texting Kay the whole time. Oh, Lord, I can't. There is no way in the world anyone on this line could have said anything to interrupt the flow of what is sent out into the world through cyberspace and all this media and virtual stuff that we're going through right now. And I just want to say thank you. I mean, I would have been said something. Dre, you know I'm telling the truth. The only reason I did not say anything is because I could not say anything. Beautiful message to all of us as dreamers. Anyone who would be on this call tonight at 10 o'clock in the evening on a Thursday, coronavirus week 4, 7, people out the hospital, everything's open. When I didn't mind being out there at first because I was the only one out there. Now, it's a lot of people out there, and I don't care to be there now. So to be here listening to what the future holds for our children based on what the past has held for us. I know the same thing, that you just stumble on your blessings, but academia is a place all within itself that I think we have been left out of, just like we've been left out of a whole lot of other things. You know, now that you think about it, there are families who end up professors and writers of curricula and researchers, and those are things we don't even think about as a Black, brown, and poor people population. I'm talking about that group. So if you all have some questions, the floor is 10. Listen, you cannot pay Lonai to be on this phone with us. Did you hear what she just said? We can't pay her for an hour. Hello. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough money amongst us all to pay her for an hour. And she never said anything like that. The only thing she said was, oh, my Lord, there are people just like me. Thought I was the only one. She's not. We're all here, so please use her. She's in New York City. Somebody told me that people were just walking around the street and just dying at the height of the COV.
Oh, my goodness.
Ask her some questions. She was there.
Oh my goodness. Can I just tell you all?
Go ahead. Go for it, Lonai. That's what I'm saying. They can't. Just go for it, girl. I'm going on mute.
Ooh. Can I just tell you that the program where my media center is housed is in Starrett City, Brooklyn, East New York, which just, according to the New York Times 2 days ago, had the highest concentration of people of color. East New York, Brownsville, and Canarsie, which I just moved from 5 months ago, has the highest amount of deaths. The highest. You know, I have to go over to that house and, get a few more of my items out of there in Canarsie. And they're talking about reopening the facility maybe in July. Now, 600 seniors passed away in Starrett City this past week due to COVID-19.
This past week?
Yeah. See,
600?
those numbers that are in the media, those numbers that are in the media fluctuate. They're not 100% accurate. There was a funeral parlor, maybe some of you saw it on the news, that was right here in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, off Flatlands Avenue, that was shut down and fined about, 4 weeks ago, because the bodies were stacked up in non-refrigerator tractor trailers in front of the funeral parlor. It was so intense here. All of my coworkers have had family members that have died. One of my coworkers lost 3 family members in one weekend, and he still comes to work to inspire these children, and he's in ministry. Okay? This is what it is every single day. When we get on this line, and we go live every day at 5 o'clock for Teen Central Online, where we do Teen Talk Live, we do virtual tours to, global destinations, we do board games, virtual board games, chess. We have some amazing teen members who are really, really good at chess. We do, oh my goodness, there's so many things that we do in this program to try to keep them inspired and keep them uplifted and hopeful every single day, And, it's just so incredible to me that when I speak to these parents, some of them are so overwhelmed, and naturally they're having deaths in their families, and they're working from home, and they're, getting laid off, and they're trying to make ends meet, and, they're trying to keep their kids, online and getting work done so that they can get promoted. And, it has been such a just unbelievably challenging, and I'll say reset, because that's what I think it is, and that's what I believe it is.
I like that word. Reset.
Yeah.
Reset.
Because we all know it just can't continue like this. It just cannot continue, the state of affairs.
Renee, what are the parents asking for? What are they asking for in regards to the support with this virtual learning and this after-school program? We have to get ready. The summer is here. This weekend starts the official summer programming. What are the parents asking for? What do they need?
Well, they do need support, because think about this. If you have one at home all day and you're working from home, maybe you're sharing a device, maybe you're not. However, that's one. I have some parents that have 5 and 6 kids in the home. They only had 2 devices. The DOE just had an approved budget to provide, I think it was $600,000, and only 150,000 laptops went out. So that means
that's it right there. The black hole money. We got to find the black hole money, because that's the problem. That's why we are where we're at.
Exactly. And that's always.
Here you go.
The trickle down. It doesn't trickle. It does not.
It never makes it to Title I. It never makes it to Century 21.
It doesn't make it. So with all of that said, I had parents that said, right now I think the numbers reported, and, and this is neither here nor there, because that's, again, what made it to the media, was that 15,000 children never even signed on. They have not even signed on for the past 2 months.
And that's for New York, right? Last week we talked about 3,000 here in Charlotte. New York is how many times bigger than Charlotte? Right? 3,000 here in Charlotte. How many? How many in New York?
Yeah, well, they said 15,000. But you know what? 10 million people, only 15,000? Where my program is housed, there's 14,000, almost 15,000 residents in Starrett City alone.
Wow.
Okay, so I know the numbers must be way more than that. So they developed with the mayor and the governor. They developed in the DOE. The commissioner developed a measurement program where they have to meet 3 tiers of standards. That they would have had to have completed in order to be promoted, right? So we already know summer school, virtual summer school, is about to be on and popping here in New York City.
Right, we know this. But the thing is, who's responsible for it now that they slipped in all these laws? And that's what I'm trying to get parents to hear. You are acting like this is a vacation, and it is not. You are asleep. And the same way you got that $1,200, the same way they were able to send it to you is the same way they got a new law in saying you're responsible for your own K through 12 education. And they've already registered all of our children on virtual schools already.
And
but we don't know it. We'll be the last to know it. So how do we position ourselves to be able to get to the news, the media? How do we leverage who we know for the purpose of just make it like we have parents, the way the school systems work in Charlotte. And New Haven is a little different. I know New Haven still uses paper. They're old school. But in Charlotte, they communicate by text message and by email. And I know for a fact, a lot of our parents, they have like Wi-Fi phones. So if they're out and about and they're not under Wi-Fi and something pings, it's not going to come back again later. So they don't get that message.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what we're faced with because, and now even within my program, I have 323 members, okay? And out of this youth program, there's all different degrees of economic levels and professional levels and so forth and so on. So I have kids in Catholic school, private school, charter school, public school, you name it, right? So within that, some of them are getting 30 minutes of instruction a day, and the rest is left up to them. Yeah, and the rest is left up to them. Some of them are getting, 6 classes online. It depends. Some of the teachers are pushed beyond, because, if you have 30 kids on average in your classroom, right, and you teach 6 to 7 classes a day, right? And then, you have to be on all day, right, and so forth and so on. Some of these teachers are on Zoom for 7 hours a day sometimes because, that's just what they have to deal with. And then you have others who are just doing that 30 minutes, and then the rest of the time, the kids are left to fend for themselves.
Unacceptable.
I cannot tell you how many times, and I call my students every single day to try to get them to class. I speak to the parents, I speak to them, whoever I can get, whoever's answering that phone. Some days, the parents are so exhausted because they're working from home and trying to juggle all this, and now they got to do 3 meals because the kids were getting 2 meals at school, and, it's just everything is going on. I've had parents say, you know what, sorry, he's on PS4 and I can't get him off. And I'm like, well, PS4, do you think maybe he can do that a little later? They have arrangements in their home, some of them, where they say, well, if the kids get up early and they do their homework for the day, I don't really fight them on it because they, all I said to them was if you do your work, if you get your work done, then you can do whatever you want the rest of the day, which is basically stay out of my way because I'm working from home, right? So, I have kids that are spending 6 to 8 hours a day or more on the PS4 gaming systems.
Wow.
And that flips me out.
How about kids in an actual program funded by the federal government that's doing nothing but playing Minecraft and all that?
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
You can't make them do anything. And everybody knows it because they've documented that this season is considered enrichment.
Right. Generally.
So because it's enrichment, even the parents are like, oh, just let them go. But research has proved years and years and years and years and years and years, deep generational, that every summer we lose. That's where summer tutorial and enrichment came from. So we can go back over last year so you can be ready to go forward this year. And, that's no. Mm-mm. No.
Yeah. So these parents.
I'm sorry. I'm just I'm emotional
I know.
right now.
I understand.
I'm emotional.
I know.
So as we hear the information that you are providing to us about the students that in the families that you're working with in Brooklyn, how do we make sure, hold accountable those powers to be, such as if you're saying that the teachers are only doing half an hour, are they still getting paid their full salaries?
Sure.
How do we make sure that we can hold everyone from the administrators, the teachers, the parents, accountable for our students, our children, our babies, making sure I am enraged right now because I know for a fact that our taxpayer dollars are being used or misused, and our children are still not getting what they are.
And those tax dollars, they've been coming straight to us. That's what's getting on my nerves. They've been earmarked to us for years, since I was in my 20s, and I know it, and I know it, and I know it. I've seen hundreds of thousands of dollars come into areas and just go back because you would rather fight over who gets it and whether you get it or who can control it. So you lose the timeline, and now it's siphoned out like a straw.
Okay, and it's 2020. We cannot accept that anymore. It's 2020. We cannot accept it. If there's going to be a new norm, then we, those of us who are on this phone call tonight, need to make sure that doesn't continue to happen. Because if they're talking about a new norm, then we need to make sure that we are in the positions to mold and create and make sure that the new norm is what is going to affect our children, that are going to have the outcomes that we want to see for our children happen. Shame on us. Shame on us. Shame on us.
Well, as always, squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So that exactly what you said. They have to be held accountable, but the only way they're going to be held accountable is, to be written about. Social media is a hugely powerful platform right now. I have kids that are getting thousands and there's other people on these platforms that are getting millions of views. I guess some of my social media, I have a few thousand, so forth, right? I'd be willing to post, just to do postings, to do whatever type of outreach I need to do to the local elected officials. And, it's not that they don't know what the issues are. I'm sure they know. They're fighting all kind of fights right now, right? So people, unemployment here is, they said, there's 30 million people or plus, right? We don't know. But here, I know in Flushing, Queens, has the highest population of COVID and unemployed, to the point where, people are waiting online for 5 and 6 hours to get not soup kitchen, but, food pantry, right? Food pantry, bags of groceries that last 3 days. So, we have a lot of issues here in the city right now that people are dealing with in terms of just survival, just basic necessities, food, being able to pay bills. Unemployment right now is really, really a challenge to get once you're laid off. It's not about just calling in and then, you're prorated and then you may see income in a few days. Here people are waiting weeks. They're waiting weeks to get their first installment. So, with all that said, however, I think that moving forward, we're definitely on the cusp of change right now, and the reset is really important to have your voice heard. You know, if this is a mission that you're passionate about, I think that it's just really important to do whatever you can, because each of us, if we each do a little bit, it's going to make a difference, and then it will grow. It will grow. You know, but in
I
terms
just have two questions for Lonai, right? That's how you say your name?
Yes, hi.
Okay. I have
is that
two questions.
Andre?
Yes, it is.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Well, they're both. One is entertainment, and the other one is education. The first question is, what is your view on the future of education? Where do you see it in the next 3 to 5 years in terms of growth and development?
Well, I would say that it will be virtual. It will be online classrooms, whether it be Google Classroom, Zoom, Skype, whatever it's going to be, Facebook Live, whatever it's going to be, right? And so I definitely see it, you know, in terms of from a technological point of view, it will be technology. Yeah, it will be technology driven. And the reason I believe that, honestly, is because of the trends that are happening in terms of technology. And, you know, I didn't get to speak about what I'm implementing virtually within my program right now, but my entire program, I just had to revamp and go virtual. So, you know, with that in mind, we know that the regular DOE system is faulty, and these young people are not coming out of school with the life skills that they need for survival. So they need life skills. They need to know financial literacy. They need to know entrepreneurship again. You know, not that we never had it before, but we all know every time we rise to that, it gets burned down. We all know this, right? But however, and net neutrality is real. You know, if in case you don't know, they are really trying to figure out how to control broadband right now. So it is very, very real, and it's by design. Because if people are not educated, they're worker bees, right? And that's the way they want it. Right? Because we all know what's going down right now. It's a different type of revolution happening right now. It's an undercurrent like never before right now. You know, and this is really what's going on, because quite honestly, because I work with young people, teenagers and stuff, and they keep me current, you know, and my son is 19 and he keeps me current and all of this. There are children in their teens right now that have YouTube channels with 180 million, 200 million views and followers.
Oh, yeah.
This is really real right now, what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, so this is our platform. This is time. This is what time it is.
Yes.
You know. We can do this on YouTube. There's a number of different ways we can do our programs, our workshops, you know, everything. And everybody wants to watch everybody else doing something.
That's because nobody wants to do the work.
Yep. So instead of going to school for 4 years, and you can go on YouTube and learn how to shoot a film from top to bottom. Why are you trying to apply to NYU and paying $70,000 a year? You know what I'm saying? And
NYU can't give you any creative juice.
No, and not
the
only
creative
that,
juice is already in you.
And not only that, unless you're in there and in the club and in UCLA and all that, you're not in the film family royalty anyway. You know, but see.
Did you just say
always,
that? She
yes,
just said
I
that.
said it.
I heard her say that.
It's really real.
Did anybody else here say it? Because I heard her say that. But all right, they told me to use the mute button.
We all know it's about, you know, the exclusivity of
who you know.
Yeah, we all know what it is. We all know what it is.
Oh yeah.
So for the most part, our young people, as always, are so blessed and so brilliant. They figured it out.
Right.
I watched some of these little hip hop artists get 100 million views in less than 3 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
And followers. This is really real.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I was working at labels, we thought it was a big deal when Mariah Carey sold 180 million records. These kids are doing 180 million in 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so this is our platform. This is our time right now.
Right.
You know, and before they figure out net neutrality and broadband and all this kind of stuff, you know, because, again, that's going to be exclusive, you know. You're going to have to pay for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So what do we do with the parents who are not savvy to this, that don't have, that are resistant to the technology, that I'm not going online, I don't need an Android or an iPhone, I'm not doing that. And in the meantime, their children or their child has all these gifts and talents. How do we rope these parents in and embrace them and support them so that they understand the importance of this virtual learning?
Well, I can just say, and I don't know if it's, you know, it's just based on experience with working with these young minds of today. We have to meet them where they are, because it's going to have to happen through them, because they are educating us at this point. This is their time.
Yeah,
you know, 18 months old children know how to swipe and put down Nickelodeon cartoons and everything. You give an 18-month-old an Android or an iPhone right now, and you better believe they're going to know how to watch Nick and Nickelodeon and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what? Can I say something? This is Pat. It's great that these kids, they are like sponges, but if there isn't a foundation, because I wanted, you talk about the waste in the education, and, you know, you talk about giving back money, but one of the things that you neglected to say is that nobody's following the paper trail, because nobody understands the forensics. And just like these children, they can pick up the iPad and stuff, and they can do it because it's just they can do it. But are we, you know, you're not teaching them the foundation or the basics for them to understand how to do it, so that they can be, what I'm going to say, they need to understand how it works. It's one thing for them to automatically do it, but you've got to have a core group, even if it's nothing but a core group of these young minds that need to understand, not only understand, but are able to explain and describe the inner workings of the system. And I think that's where we as a people fail at, because, you know, yes, these kids get it. They're doing the 200 million, whatever, but they're not understanding the broadband. They're not understanding the electronic.
No, they know how to use it because they're being shown. In other words, it's easy to show somebody hands-on training as opposed to reading a book.
Absolutely. And you know what? And keeping in mind
that at the same time, that hands-on training, if the system changes, that hands-on training becomes useless if they change the program. And nobody's aware of the changing of the program or how to adapt to the change of the program.
Okay. Well, can I respond to that? Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
I have 2 points that I'd like to address in terms of that, and thank you for your question, because, yes, it is extremely valid. I would say that, first of all, coming from, you know, having worked in media and all, content is king, and content still is king. So they can be educated via content of any kind, whether it's instructionals, the business of, you know, so forth and so on, right? I should have written the other point down. You had me fired up. I'm going to come back to the second point, but I know that, in terms of content, just to elaborate on that briefly, I know what the second one was. Here it comes. Keeping in mind that there are so many different learning styles. The reason a lot of these kids are not succeeding in school is because maybe they're a physical learner. So, that traditional, traditional learning style doesn't work for them.
That explains why they drop out of school, because they think they could just do it overnight. Oh, I can get it online. Why pay $100,000 to go to Emerson or Harvard or whatever?
All of it, right? So that here we are developing content, because I know my son has his home studio and he's producing music and he's doing his thing and all this and that. But what I charge him with daily is, okay, if you're going to be doing all that stuff and you're going to be doing virtual and online and digital recording and all this, I want to charge you with at least 1 hour of business instructional video. It can be your choice. It can be copyright laws. It can be entrepreneurship. It can be, branding. It can be marketing. But when we talk tomorrow, I want you to be able to explain to me what you've learned about the legalities of doing your own business.
And you are the exception and not the rule.
Maybe so. However...
But that's a great thing. I mean, I want to give you high kudos for that. But how do we get the general, how do we get the child that doesn't have a parent like you or me or, all of us that are online having this discussion, how do we get them to understand that?
Right. Well, one thing's for certain. I think their understanding is clear. It's extremely clear that change is inevitable and change is happening whether you are willing to accept it or not.
And
you know what I'm saying?
And I've seen
many are called, only a few are going to be chosen.
That's it. And like they say, you cannot deprogram and reprogram everyone. But I can tell you what, most of these kids are tech savvy.
The kids
They
are. They are. There's no question in mind that they aren't. But it's just like I'm still looking at sitting in the middle of Dixwell, New Hallville, and having gone through doing a food pantry giveaway today, and looking at the parents who are lost. Yeah, the little ones get it.
Sure.
But they still have to have mentors. We've all been blessed with mentors. And we've all been blessed with the village. But this disconnect, it doesn't exist in a lot of lives. And I don't want to say it's a loss, but just how do we, how can we get that light bulb on?
Development. Content development, programming, all of that. Because you know what? They're going to be online looking at this, that, and the other every single day. We have to frame it in a way, that it appeals to their sensibilities.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I really do. Because she's a parent and she's a visionary. I would say she should have some kind of, what do they call that, like a webinar teaching parents to understand how that system works. Basically, just have her talking to people, parents that don't know.
Yeah, we have parent workshops. We do. We have parent workshops as well because, they're dealing with mental health issues, anxiety, stress, unemployment. Now they have to manage their children at home. Now they're educators. Now, they're balancing so much stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Parents
I agree.
Can't teach. Not all parents can homeschool
Not
their
all.
kids.
That's
Katrina
right.
said that, a while back.
And they're being forced to. They're being forced to. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Some of them are being forced to grow up.
Yes.
Kids having kids,
Yes. Isn't that the truth? And held accountable.
Oh,
It's
that
big. It's very big. But no one ever said change is easy, right?
No.
And this is a transition we're moving through right now, and that's what it's all about.
It really
it's a transition.
It really is.
And unfortunately, I'm one of those people that really want to bring. I'm the one that's reaching back to try to bring somebody along with me, and they're kicking and screaming.
Yeah, Lady Lonai, can you explain? Can you tell us? I'm sorry, Pat. I have to ask this question, Lady Lonai. This platform, the Urban Roundtable, Academics Roundtable. How do you, having been here tonight, see this platform as a mechanism to use to address all of what we are discussing tonight? How just one thing that you can share with us, and you as a provider. What can the roundtable provide to you for support, and what can you provide to the roundtable? What do you see as coming out of this discussion tonight? One thing.
Well, yeah, thank you for that question, because absolutely a call to action is 110% necessary, right? So that there are obviously brilliant minds on this call right now who are aware, who are passionate about the community and the youth and education, right? Yeah. All of us are professionals with experience. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. However, we have to adapt the wheel to the new model. That's all we need to do. That's all we need to do is transfer it. And I think people are getting very overwhelmed with it, because it's new territory. And that's so understandable. You know what I mean? But however, I had to redevelop this whole program. I may have had a little lead because I'm, in media, tech savvy a little bit, I'm not an expert, but, I'm definitely technologically inclined. So
you
I
are
realized,
an expert.
No, I realize a lot of people aren't tech savvy, and it intimidates them. I've been trying to help my 81-year-old mom learn her smartphone. Some days she's cursing, I hate this effing phone. And I'm like, Mom, I just try to really explain to her the phone's not your enemy. It can actually help you. Just take it one step at a time, breathe, and we're going to figure out these buttons together. And it's going to be okay. It really is going to be okay. However, this change is not coming. It's here. So we absolutely have to adapt to it. I got to tell you, long story short, my entire after-school staff of 26 employees was laid off because 2 months ago, when all of this self-quarantining and these mandates were coming down from, local and state, Congress and so forth, right? Everything was being closed because our program is housed in a community center setting with a senior program, which, of course, at that time, everybody thought it was just targeting seniors, right? And youth, sharing a facility, a gym, upstairs, swimming pool, fitness center, all of that, right? So, of course, the building had to be shut down. That's too much traffic. Immediately, the higher-up said, boom, we're closing the program. I didn't panic. I thought about it. I contacted key staff. And I said, okay, if we do this transition, what are you willing to bring to the table? What can you do? They told me what they thought they were able to do. I shared with them what I saw them doing. We agreed, wrote the proposal, sent it to the higher-ups. It was accepted, and boom, we launched our virtual program that following Thursday. Everyone was in a panic, like, oh, my God, how are we going to go live next Thursday? We just got the word that we're even doing this. We need time. We need this. We need that. What are we going to do? I said, well, don't you write curriculums every day? Don't you do programming? You know, we've been executing programs on site forever. All we have to do now is take what we're doing and translate it into a virtual concept, which just means that they're going to now sign on everything that they were coming into the center to do, of course, minus swimming and basketball. We have to figure out how to translate that. That's the biggest piece. So once we figured that piece out, and it took hours of brainstorming, think tank sessions to come to agreements to figure out what was going to work for that particular demographic, because I do realize every demo is different. Every age group, every demo is going to be different. But you know your community. Everybody on this line has talked about, you know, their community and so forth. So if you know your demographic and if you need help understanding that more, you got a think tank here. We can all come up with something and support each other in that respect. But moving forward, I think we should definitely do these meetings, do these check-ins. You know, if everyone wants to take something on, you know, and be that point person in your community, however, just know you have a team behind you that you can call and say, you know, look, this is not working, or I think this might work. How should I do it? You know, I'm sure. I know for me personally, I can read an email and respond. You know, if you can't get me on the phone, you know what I mean? I can certainly respond to an email. But, you know, I say all that to say, let's not panic. It's going to be okay. Lean not to your own understanding, because this is bigger than all of us, and we all report to a higher authority. Let's remember that.
Right. I'd like to stay in touch with everybody, and Layla, definitely you, because I have a similar story as to what you went through in the music business. I served as well for 25 years. So,
I'm sure.
You know, so I want to share
Absolutely.
something with you, but I just want us to stay in touch because it's been crazy.
Yeah.
I used to go back and forth to New York like every week just to work with people at Sony Music, because I had a show back in the day called Video Flavor. It was all music videos, top 40 R&B. I used to go to 75 Rockefeller Plaza. Def Jam was at the corner with Rockefeller. All the record labels on every single corner. I met Clive Davis at Arista back in the day, just playing their videos, putting money in their pockets, doing all the concerts and all this crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And but anyway, I wanted to share something else with you, and you know, for everything I went through and how we can collaborate.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so,
I would love to hear your story. Absolutely.
You know,
yeah, it's, you know, media, and see, you know, the conglomerates have always had one way of doing things, you know, but this is a new day. These kids don't know nothing about record stores, labels. They barely know what a CD is.
I know. You're right.
You know,
every kid I worked with, they wanted a record deal. Everybody was going to New York, telling them, let's get a record deal. Oh my God.
They
Not
don't care
anymore.
about that now.
No.
They're like, why would
they
I
set
do
up their
a
own
record
deals.
deal?
They do their own distribution. They press their own, not wax anymore. They lay down their own tracks and just, I'm like, nope.
They do everything. And you know what? We have to give them a lot of credit, because honestly, don't underestimate young people. You may not think they're business savvy, but a lot of them know the difference between a 360 deal and, you know, the other types of deals that these big artists have. Because a 360 deal, they have no control over anything. The only time they make money is when they perform. And obviously they can't go on tour right now. So they're aware.
Everything is virtual. Yeah.
They're aware.
Yeah, everything is virtual.
You know, everything.
They had a tribute to Prince on a couple of weeks ago, and that was obviously a repeat. You know, I'm like,
absolutely.
All these people doing in the audience. Oh, that's a repeat.
Yeah. That was the Grammy celebration from.
Yeah, Sheila Reed, all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, with all of that said, I find that working with 4th and 5th graders all the way up through seniors in high school, you know, they blow me away every day.
Okay.
I learned a long time ago, Auntie Kay, when you had the Montessori program, not to underestimate these toddlers. They know how to do a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
Alexis Hill.
Okay. They And then I got to work with toddlers again at the Flatbush Y. And they had their program. They come in, they take off their little coat, they hang it up in their cubby, they put their lunch away, they do their shoes or whatever in their cubby. They come, they sit down, they're ready for story time or whatever's going to start their day. Or if you tell them, okay, we're going to do lunch now, they go, they get their little lunch, they get a paper towel, they put it on the table, they put their lunch on there, they sit down with their hands folded looking at you like, okay, we ready? Tell them it's story time. They go get their little book. They make their horseshoe. They sit down in front of you on the floor. You have chairs facing them, and they're looking at you like, okay, what story are we doing now? So our kids are light years ahead of us. I can tell you. They are light years ahead of us right now.
Yes, they are.
My kids already produced a game show. They did a short film, a silent film. They are doing they're editing their music video right now. You know, and again, technology, whether you love it, hate it, or whatever, it is what it is right now.
Right.
This is everything. This is our platform. As long as we continue to develop our educational content in all of it, it will, we can put it out there. They're going to see it. We just have to make it sexy for them. You know what I mean? Right. We have to make it cool, appealing, and relevant. We cannot talk down to them. We have to meet them where they are.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Make it relevant.
Speaking my language.
That's what it is. That's what I learned. Because, I'm that type of person when I'm in the room with them, I'm pulling up a chair and they're looking at me like, okay, why is this lady in our mix? You see, we're trying to have a private conversation here. What do you want? And I mess with them. Hey, girl, what's going on? Okay, listen, this is what's happening today. Y'all want to do this? Let's do this, okay? I'm not going to say to them, I'm the instructor. You're the student. You're going to sit here and be quiet and listen to what I have to say.
Right.
That's
youth
not working.
driven. Youth driven.
But if you're speaking their language, why is J. Cole more lyrical, a rapper, but Tekashi 69 has more popularity and views? If you can come in and have that conversation with them, now they're looking at you like, oh, you're speaking our language? Know their culture. Just understand what's going on. We don't all want to hear gangster rap and all that, but at least know the difference between lyrical rap, gangster rap, trip rap, this rap, whatever it is. At least be able to speak their language.
Exactly.
And through them, we can re-educate the parents, because this is what they're listening to. This is what they're doing. Auto-tune is on vocals. Why? I had a whole debate with kids about that. I said, well, auto-tune was originated for artists that couldn't sing live, that could not perform live because they were studio artists. Now it's all over everything. I'm like, it sounds robotic. And they're like, yeah, you're right, Miss L. It does sound robotic. And I'm like, you can sing. Why do you want to sound digital? Why do you want to sound like a robot? So I pose the question to them. And it gets them thinking critically.
Yeah, and that's all art. So
it's art.
That's all art. And we are all art. Every problem child that they're trying to keep in a straight line is art. You can't keep art in a straight line because art doesn't know a straight line.
That's the beauty of it, though. We have to think outside the box right now.
There it is.
We have to. I know it's safe to cocoon. I like cocooning sometimes. I know it's safe in there. It's comfortable, it's familiar. But at the same time, nothing is more of an adrenaline rush than to explore the unknown and take a risk.
Yeah, that's it. I know I sure did.
Right? Fear is a replacement for faith. Let's not embrace that. because ultimately he's in control.
That's it.
Whew.
Do you have an email?
New York City has been amongst the highest numbers of everything COVID. It's already after 11, so we've gone already over an hour and a half, which speaks to this table. It really does.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do with any one individual, but rather all of us collectively with all this wealth of information, experience, wisdom, charisma, and courage. None of those things before courage matter if you don't take courage. You have to do something. Most people don't ever do anything. So I just want to say thank you again for everyone on this call. And please, we're all still here. If you have a question for Lady Lonai, she's living in New York City right now where people were telling me they were just dropping dead.
Big
so
time.
If you have a question for her, ask it. She's live and live in color.
All right. Do you have an email address?
Yes.
Okay. I got a pen, so.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
It's Lonai Mosley 18 at Gmail. It's LON.
LON. Yep.
AI. Mosley MOSLEY 18 at Gmail.
18 at Gmail. Okay, great. I'll send you some things. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That. Absolutely.
I'll send you the link to the website too as well.
Oh, great!
That's my
awesome.
network. I launched a network called Bean TV, Boston's Entertainment Arts Network Television, sort of like BET, but a lot different from BET though. The shows I do is totally different from what anybody else is doing. So.
I'm totally looking forward to seeing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great talking to you. I'm trying to think. I did have a question regarding. Well, we all know. Oh, actually, okay, we all know about education. What about the schools? You think they're dinosaurs? What do you think is going to happen as far as the schools itself? Because they're being pulled out, students being dropped out and leaving, the parents pulling them out, teachers going on strike. What do you see the future for schools?
Yeah, it has to change. Yeah. Some people may not like me for what I'm about to say, but I'm happy about it. Honestly, it's painful right now, and we all know a brick and mortar education environment is very necessary for social development and all of it, right? However, it's broken. It doesn't work anymore. It never really worked for us anyway.
So you're saying the virtual aspect of it will take the place of schools? You think it would be any better? Do you see it working better as far as technology?
I think that it's going to be real instrumental.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's the end all be all because we are social beings and we need that human interaction.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And to be able to socialize before we all turn into SM-15 robots.
I think public schools have already done it. Public schools are out. Yeah, the government's out. And right in our face, they changed the law. They gave all the schools to whoever would step up and take them. And they're still doing it. So let us stand up and take them because we have to. We don't have a choice. And if we don't, we'll be just sitting around this table and I'll be mad at everybody on this call.
And we'll be talking about what happened.
No.
And you know what? Nothing irritates me more because when I took my son to 6th grade here in Canarsie, Brooklyn, and I walked in and met that principal, and I said, "Good afternoon, Miss Williams. Do you have a minute? I'd like to talk to you about the reason why my son has a D in English, where he came from an Astro program where he had A's in elementary school." She said to me, "Oh, he has a D? That's not that bad. He's just transitioning from 5th grade to 6th grade." I'm like thinking to myself, in what world is it not that bad for an African-American boy to have a D? When I know good and well we got to be 10 steps ahead at all times.
He's not even accepted. Unacceptable.
Right. It got to the point where I was going to that school so often, she'd be like, oh, here's Miss Mosley again. What do you want today, Miss Mosley? You know I wanted to wring her neck. Excuse me, forgive me, God. I'm not a violent person, but I was just like, I had to really rock back and say, she just bought into the system. She's just getting her check.
That's it.
She don't care about these kids. She don't care about my kid and how he does.
That same way.
You know what I'm saying? So, with that, I pulled him out. I let him go to school in Jersey where, those taxpayers aren't playing around over there where his dad lives in Bergen County, over there 10 minutes from the GW Bridge, where the taxes on the houses are $15,000 a year and up, right? So, with all of that said, the whole learning style, the caring, the, just being on the pulse, they had technology, they had, all kinds of just, it's still redlining. At the end of the day, I just want to say it's still redlining. The struggle is real. I got a program approved to go into a school in Brownsville, New York, which is considered the worst area in terms of crime, poverty, and all of that, gangbangers, everything, in Brooklyn. Went to the school, met with the principal. He loved the program. He was a Title I school. He was eligible to pull down the funding, everything. Right before we were going to launch the program, 2 months before, they pulled $700,000 from his program. I'm thinking to myself, if anybody needs the money, they need it. Why are they pulling that $700,000? Because it's really real. The system is broken, it's corrupt, it's not working anymore. If we don't do something about it, it's just going to crumble.
Yeah.
It's going to do what it needs to do, whether we're involved or not. So if we're going to be change makers and trendsetters and all of that, we're right here. We're on the pulse. We can certainly do it. We can certainly do it.
That's a seat worth sitting in. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about let's do it. Like I've been since a child right there looking at everybody. I'm just over talking. We just got to do it. And so we have certain states already represented. If you're joining us, then we got New York, the state. And then, you got New York City. You got a whole bunch of New York. New York is huge. Then you got Texas is huge. There's a whole bunch of huge in this country. But
California
who cares about what?
Yeah.
That's the question. Who cares about what? And those who care about education, more importantly, educating our kids, those are the ones who need to sit at the table.
Absolutely. I mean, we could certainly provide foundation for them and make sure they're getting the quality, the nuts and bolts that they need. However, I mean, people's opinions, I'm sure, differ from mine, and I'm okay with that. However, I think it's pointless for children, unless they're going to be a mathematician or a professor or something, to have all that algebra in terms of being able to graduate. I'm thinking to myself, okay, this child, he doesn't know how much rent is. He doesn't know what credit is. He doesn't know how to get a credit card. He doesn't know how to invest money. He doesn't know about taxes, but he has 4 years of algebra. How is that going to help him?
Right.
How?
Right.
How?
Right.
But
I mean, we've known that forever. But where we are now is the culmination of a bunch of research. They've been giving out these innovation grants probably since when Kay pulled me back in, 13, 14. That started in 10, but it started innovating around 13, 14. And now we are seeing Obama's dream turn into a nightmare for our parents. And that's what I don't want to happen, because that's not good. To have his legacy torn like that, that's not his legacy. His legacy was to level the playing field so that no matter where you lived, No matter, and since we're still on the phone, there's so many of us still on the phone, praise God, I'm going to read something to you that I have up on my computer. And it's about, this act was written, this was, I think, 2010. I don't want to tell you a story, but 2016, October 2016. This is Obama. The U.S. Department of Education has determined that this guidance is significant guidance under the Office of Management and Budget's final bulletin for agency good guidance practices. It's a bunch of regulation stuff. White House, a website, I can send it to you. They even say if you're interested, whatever. It is not a common law, but a public domain document that you can use and whatever. So what I have gathered from this document, which is hundreds of pages, I can use because it belongs to the federal government. But anyway, President Obama signed the Every Student Succeeds Act. Listen to that. Every Student Succeeds Act. We still keep talking about No Child Left Behind. So again, 2016, President Obama signed the Every Student Succeeds Act, the SSA, into law, actually December 2015, which reauthorized the Elementary and Second Education Act of 1965. Nowhere here does it say anything about No Child Left Behind. So we don't even know what's going on with that one yet. ESSA reflects the civil rights tradition, which reflects our nation's long-standing commitment to equity of opportunity for all students. The new law has a clear goal of ensuring our education system prepares every child to graduate from high school ready to thrive in college and careers. The ESEA includes a number of provisions that promote equitable access to educational opportunity, including holding all students to high academic standards, ensuring meaningful action is taken to improve the lowest performing schools and schools with underperforming student groups, and providing more children with access to high-quality preschool. As we work to improve education outcomes for students, the ultimate goal is to provide all students, regardless of zip code. I'm going to say that part again. The ultimate goal. So if you don't know your ultimate goal, we don't have a goal. So here's Obama's ultimate goal, that we ought to provide all students, regardless of zip code. Let's just sit there for a minute, because all zip codes are different. We don't,
Oh, yeah.
Let's think about it. Regardless of zip code, then you have, he put zip code first. Why?
It's real clear.
Zip code. Yeah, it's real clear.
Right? So regardless of zip code, race is next. Ethnicity, religion, family income, sex, including gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, language status, gender, or migrant status, with a high-quality education. And it's a whole bunch more pages that most people would never read, but I will, and I have. But that's what I'm saying. That's enough that we just have captured here on this moment, in this very moment, will change the world all by itself, because we had an example that we never had before, and then we didn't see it, just like Jesus. They didn't recognize him. And so it was us who stoned them and said hurrah, hurrah, and stoned them and said hurrah, hurrah. So we can't do that anymore, not for our children. They are about to snatch the rug from under us. If the rug hasn't, if we just going to just slip on it. And the only way, if they pull out, the only thing left is what are you going to do, start a school?
Well, I think we each are a school and a ministry.
That's right.
Who said a school actually has to be inside one location? I think each of us is a powerful, caring, connected, influential, just vessel to make that change. It has to start somewhere.
Right.
And there's a lot of people I know, other educators and other people who share the common interest, and they care, and they want to see change, and they get it. They do get it. So people are aware. There's still 41% of the population that are still sheep, right? Still following 45 and whatever and all this and that. And, we know that this is a very economic, capitalistic-driven society, and as long as they keep our kids blinded with advertising and this, that, and the other, they think they're dumbing them down and stuff. But I keep saying, don't sleep on these kids. Remember, it's so funny because I think about it. Each decade or so, right, there's a revolution that pops up, and it's different variations. It's a movement. It's either through music or whatever, But I think that, again, I just want to come back to we got to just keep media is so powerful. But media has even now transformed into technology. It's morphed. Yes. It's morphed right now. You can't separate it, And, it's amazing. I just, oh my goodness. It's just, it excites me so much for a number of reasons because I know that, where we are right now with this change, this is our time to take advantage of this platform, but I also know because, they're busy trying to figure out how to shut that down and control it too. We don't know how much time we have.
Right.
So, we all can start developing this content if you're not already and getting this out there. You can blog, you can post, you can Instagram it. You can do a YouTube channel if you have that kind of time, or wherewithal to be able to do it. And if you want to do it and you don't know how to do it, and if you can ask, or you could just go on YouTube and say, how do I do a YouTube channel? What are the revenue streams? All of that stuff is there. There's people making 12 revenue streams of money right now doing YouTube. Because then you start getting ad dollars. Once you hit 100,000 views, followers, whatever, and it sounds like a lot, but honestly, it's happening. Remember, this is global we're talking about.
That's right. Worldwide.
Right? People living in shanty towns and stuff have smartphones.
People live in Kansas. People live in places you wouldn't think they'd have this technology. But they're all over the place, yeah?
Everywhere.
Everybody's got a smartphone. An iPad or some type of device, a smart device.
This is true. Everything has changed. It's going to keep changing. But if we keep talking, it'll be 2 a.m. It's about 11:27. And I guess it's my job to say this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much for coming. We love you, and you will hear from us real soon, probably within 24 hours. We love you. Welcome to the Urban Academics Roundtable. Thank you, Lonai Mosley. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Take care, everyone. Keep the faith.
Good night. Blessings always.
Okay.